Hey everybody, welcome to another review on my channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at 4 anime block figure characters made by the company BlockTech. I picked up each one of these figures for $5 each, so the entire collection will retail for $20. And this is BlockTech's attempt at making something kind of similar to LEGO Brickheads. So let's jump in and see if these figures are really worth the $5 price. And none of these figures have names, so we're going to be starting with the character I'm going to call the blue guy. And my first impressions of this figure are relatively strong. I do like the overall look and design of him. As we turn him around to the side here, you can see that there are little bits of yellow brick that complement the overall blue robe design of the character, and the side of his head is pretty well tiled off. And as we turn the figure all the way around to the back, you can see that there is some brick built detail thanks to the alternating yellow and blue colors. Although I don't like the random hole that is found on the back of the character. And as we start to make our way back to the front of the figure, you can see that the face design does represent that of a brickhead, and he does come with 2 ball joints in each one of his arms, which allows for some articulation, which I actually think is a pretty cool inclusion. Underneath the blue robe, you are going to find a white shirt that I do feel like does fit the design relatively well. Another issue I have with this figure is the piece they decided to use for the character's feet. It looks really awkward to me personally, and I think I would have preferred actual brick-built feet to be on the character instead. The hat design for this character is also a little strange. Both of the pieces are on hinges, which allows for a little bit of articulation. But this is obviously included to get the angle of the hat shape and design, instead of actual articulation for the figure. Overall, I think this figure is okay. The next figure we're going to be taking a look at, I'm going to call Flower Girl. And just like with Blue Guy, I do feel like the design of this character is relatively good. I really like the brick built detail for the character's hair and clothing for this build. There's multiple colors found throughout the character's clothes, and due to the building techniques, it kind of has a 3D look to it from the front of the figure. And as we make our way around the character, you can see that she is pretty well tiled off. And I do like the pieces and design that BlockTech used to get the buns in the character's hair. I think that's a really cute attention to detail. And as we start to make our way back to the front of the figure, you can see that the face design is relatively simple. But more importantly, this figure comes with an accessory, her flower basket, which can be removed from the hands of the character, and we're going to take a little bit of a closer look. It is a relatively simple build, but I do like the variety in colors used for the flowers. And I do feel like it is a relatively nice inclusion, and as we pick up the character and turn her around to the side here, you can see that there's also a little piece on a hinge, and I assume this is meant to represent a small bag on the character's waist, but overall I think this is a pretty solid looking figure for $5. The next figure we're going to be taking a look at, I'm going to call Pink Dress Girl. And this is probably my least favorite out of these anime block characters. I just find the design to be a little bit too simple when compared to the other 3. And I'm also not really the biggest fan of the lime green found throughout the build, as I feel like it doesn't complement the pink and blue very well. Not only that, but if we take a look towards the bottom of the dress where the green pieces are, they look like they're flowing in the opposite direction, and it just looks a little strange to me. And I did double check the instructions, and this is how they want you to build the figure. But that's just my personal opinion. I still think it is relatively well built for what it is. It's just a little bit too simple for my liking personally. The last buildable character we're going to be taking a look at, I'm going to call Old Green Guy. And this is my favorite out of these 4 figures. I think he's got a really cool design, and I love the building technique they use to get the character's feet in the shape that they are. Making our way around to the side of the character, you can see that there's also some lighter green pieces. I personally am not the biggest fan of this color choice, but I do feel like it does fit the build decently well. And as we start to make our way back to the front of the figure, you can see that he does have a very strange piece used for the eyebrows, but I actually kind of like it, and I think it fits the aesthetic of the build well. There is also that grill piece they used in the middle of the character's head, which I think is meant to represent wrinkles, which is a pretty cool detail. And he also comes with a stick or some kind of weapon as an accessory, which I think is pretty cool as well. Overall, I like this guy. Here are the 4 characters next to officially licensed brickheads, which I'm actually going to praise BlockTech for, as they tried to give their own unique spin on these builds. And I do think that there is some sort of justification for each one of these characters being worth the $5 price tag. My biggest problem with these builds is that they are unknown characters that people are unlikely to resonate with. For example, all 4 of these figures would retail for $20, but I also just recently reviewed the Up Disney brickheads, which also retailed for $20. And when you put these 2 products side by side, I think people are going to be more inclined to buy the Disney Up brickheads, because they are officially licensed characters that people are more likely to resonate with. But pushing that to the side and looking at these as a standalone product, I do feel like each one of them could be worth the $5. You'll have to let me know what you think of these builds in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe for more brick built reviews in the future.